Hi, I'm Stephanie Oswald, co-founder of Travel Girl Magazine and a frequent visitor to the beautiful Myrtle Beach area of South Carolina. These beaches are a favorite for my family and more than 17 million other visitors each year for fun-filled, sun-soaked, memory-drenched beach vacations. Rolling out the welcome mat for all these travelers has an enormous impact on the Myrtle Beach area. Tourism is the #1 industry, responsible for more than 83,000 jobs, and 80% of those jobs are year-round positions. It also means tax revenue for local schools, hospitals, and even housing. It provides necessary infrastructure across the community, including roads and bridges, and funds facilities for sports and the performing arts. Tourism helps not only preserve the area's rich southern culture, including its deep Gullah Geechee roots, but it also shares this history with visitors from around the world. Tourism helps protect the area's natural resources, starting with this beautiful 60-mile coastline and gorgeous ocean waters. And it extends to 2 state parks and miles of inland forests, creeks, and rivers. Tourism also promotes civic pride. How can you not boast that more than 17 million people choose to spend their vacation in your hometown? And finally, tourism equals economic development. Last year alone, the travel industry added more than $7 billion to the local economy.
There are 4 ways that tourism can affect cities: overcrowding, pollution, bad behavior, and rising prices. Let's begin with overcrowding. Venice, a city of 60,000 people, welcomes nearly 30 million visitors a year. That's 76,000 tourists a day. Spain had 82 million visitors in 2017, with 9 million visiting Barcelona alone. There are even traffic jams climbing Mount Everest now. Overcrowding has an obvious effect on traffic, footpaths, and queues. It can also affect a city's culture and identity, like in Barcelona, where locals are complaining tourism is diluting its vibrancy and history. Tourists also bring with them pollution and waste. They consume heaps of water and food, while causing environmental damage to the destination. In Thailand, a beach has been closed to protect its coral reefs from tourists. In Indonesia, Bali's famously pristine beaches are now being swamped by garbage, and their underground water sources are being drained too quickly. The island predicts it will run out of its water supply by 2020. In Venice, cruise ships that bring thousands of tourists each day are damaging the local environment with engine pollution and water displacement. Tourism even accounts for 8% of global greenhouse gas emissions, mainly from transportation. And then there's the issue of tourists' bad behavior. There are many viral videos that show tourists behaving inappropriately, from airport check-in meltdowns and assaults on cabin crews to deliberately damaging ancient ruins. Locals in the Brazilian city of Rio de Janeiro are furious at drunk tourists at their infamous Ipanema beach. In Croatia, people are fed up with loud and rude tourists, so fines are being issued to those who drink alcohol in public. And Bali is even considering imposing restrictions on temples after tourists continue to climb on the holy sites or pose in swimwear. Finally, tourism causes a rise in prices, especially when it comes to short-term rentals. Like with Airbnb, an accommodation app where users can share their homes with tourists. It has grown enormously with over 5 million lodgings across 81,000 cities. But it has its downsides. Landlords in major cities make more money out of short-term leases on Airbnb, forcing local tenants to pay more. In some cities, it can raise housing prices as people look to invest in Airbnb homes. These rising prices are not just limited to Airbnb though. In Cambodia, citizens were evicted from fishing villages so that resorts could be built on the beaches. The increased cost of living is forcing residents out from some of the most beautiful cities in the world. But there is hope. Cities are starting to recognize the impacts of mass tourism and are looking to introduce measures to deal with the load. Fines for behavior are being introduced in cities all over the world. Regulations are starting to hit Airbnb, with their listings in San Francisco, Barcelona, and Paris dropping.